Then YouTube, what we're going to be doing today is a coolant flush. I think the first step is to drop the coolant from the bottom of the water pump. So, the water pump is down here. This is the water pump. This is the lowest hose on the cooling system. So to get the most coolant out of it, you disconnect this, pull the pipe off, and hopefully about 4.5 litres of coolant should come out. That's the plan. On E90 models, you could use the bottom of the radiator with a drain plug, but on this car, the M135i, the intercooler fouls that, so there's not a bleed screw to undo. So the only place you can do it from is the bottom of the water pump. So to crack the hose off the water pump, all we're going to need is a little ratchet, 6mm socket, and a big bucket. You want your bucket to be more than 4-5 litres because that's how much is going to come out. It is going to be a bit messy, so yeah, I wouldn't do this on grass because coolant's not that good for grass. I'm probably not going to get all of it here. I'm not going to get the camera too close because I don't want coolant all over it. But take your socket. Oh, don't knock the camera over, Jacob. Wear eye protection first as well. I wear glasses, so it's going to be okay. If you can see that, we're going to crack it off initially. It's not very tight at all. We only want a little bit of slack in the Jubilee clip. I keep backing it off. But as you can see, I've got the Jubilee clip all the way off, hanging. We've just got the water pump hose exposed now. Probably want to get it all the way out of the way so you don't cut your hands when you're trying to force this ball off. Kind of get your bucket ready and just start to give this a good amount of persuasion. Oh gosh, it's pretty tight. Christ. Okay, I've got the coolant somewhat dripping now. Pull that off a little bit further. Hopefully. Oh, it's gonna go. Oh, it's going up my sleeve and in my face. That's nice, is that? That is nice. Oh, no, not my sleeves. Okay, we've got quite a good flow there, actually. And it's missing most of the steering lines. Electric, that is. Beautiful. I'll probably pop that off, but it'll go gushing out. And down my sleeves. Ugh. Come on. That's what I wanted. What a mess. So now we've drained the coolant, what we're going to do now is put the Jubilee clip back on again and tighten it up. And then when we put coolant in, it doesn't just flow straight out the bottom. So I've replaced this vent line as well at the same time, so I've just done that. Tightened up the Jubilee clip on the back of the water pump. Made sure that it's fully seated all the way around, as is the hose. And yeah, tightened it up. Don't, use a massive wrench and completely snap it and burst the hose, but get it nice and tight. It's nice and tight in there. That's not going anywhere. To fill it back up again, we're going to be using the BMW coolant. We're going to empty half one of the bottles out and then fill up the remainder with the distilled water, and that way you have your 50-50 mix. The easiest way that I can think of doing it. So yeah, use a funnel to help, you don't spill it everywhere. Make sure your bleed screw is just cracked. You can see mine's just cracked there, and that allows the air to escape. To start the bleed cycle, what we're going to do, turn the ignition on. Make sure the fan speed is set to the minimum and heaters on both sides are set to maximum. We're going to put the dipped beams on, and then we're going to hold our foot down on the throttle for 10 seconds. And eventually you'll hear the water pump start whooshing and gurring, and at that point the bleed cycle has started. While it's bleeding, just give the back of the water pump a little check, make sure it's not leaking. There is some fluid there, but that's just from the expansion tank, you can kind of see it all over. But actually on that joint there's nothing, which is very good. After you've completed the bleed, it takes roughly 12 minutes. You want to start the car up and let it idle / fast idle up to temperature, and then you want to keep the undertray off and just make sure that there's nothing leaking. I've got my phone plugged into the OBD2 and just measuring the temperature, make sure that it reaches roughly around 115 and stays there, and then that's sort of full pressure that it'll ever see. Once you've had the car up to temperature, make sure you check the expansion tank level. Obviously make sure the car's cool, this obviously gets pressurised when the car's hot. So you have a max and min marker, you want to make sure it's between those. I've just filled it up to max. But yeah, that's how you bleed the cooling system on your BMW.